What's up everyone? Welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to be covering the solar panels. We're going to break it down into 4 different steps. So the first step is going to be preparing the solar panels, and by that I'm going to mean attaching the solar panels together. So these 3 right here, just to add additional support, we're going to attach all 3 solar panels together. The second thing is to build a frame outside the solar panels. I have aluminum 80/20 that's going to create a border around it, and that's going to be used to attach onto my roof rails down the line. The third step is to add in a roof vent adapter that's going to be used to feed my wires from my solar panels, as well as the Wi-Fi extender that I have, the network extender. Also, it has a wire that needs to get powered because it needs to supply, it needs power. So we're going to feed that through as well through the cable roof vent adapter. And the last step is to actually get the solar panels. After the roof vent adapter's already been on, we've created the outer layer, we've attached all the solar panels together, and now we want to put it onto the roof rails and screw it into there. So I'll go step by step on everything that I'm doing, and yeah, let's get to it. Now let's take a look at our solar panels here. We have 3 100-watt solar panels here and 1 100-watt solar panel there. And if you will look at my fan video, I had messed up and put the 2 fans too close to each other. So these 3 are going to be laid out between my 2 fans, and then this is going to be closer to the driver's side in front of that first fan. And what we want to do with these 3 are basically drill them together. Drill them maybe 2, just to make sure they're tight and snug. And just more secure, and then we're going to lay out the outsides. So let's get to the drilling these 2 first. All you're going to need is a drill, 5/16 bolts, nuts, and washers, and make sure you have a 5/16 drill bit. Okay, so now I'm mapping this out to about 60 and an 1/8 inch. Let me see how much. Pretty hard to see, but I marked it up with 60 inches right here with my saw. We should be good to go. I'm using this as a blade. I've never really cut through aluminum before, but I know you're just not supposed to get the non-ferrous blade. Hopefully this should be good. If we can cut through metal, I think it should be pretty good to cut through aluminum, but let's find out. Put these in, and it's looking pretty good. It's perfectly aligned, not going over. Now the next step is to create a hole here and a hole here, and a hole there, so then we can put in the horizontal, the short side 80/20 in afterwards. So now that all these screws are on, what we want to do is add these like T-nuts. That's what they're called, I think. And then you kind of put them on, but you don't want to put them on too tight. It adds friction for the bar going all the way across when you actually put it in. So I'll put it in this way actually. So I'm going to feed it in from this side. Fits like a glove. So this will go in here, and the other ones will slide into it. So I'm putting this here. I won't be able to tighten it because it's on the insides, but at least it'll give it some additional sense of strength and security. So let's see if we can feed this through. Just like that, we have most of the border done. So currently, with the way this is, I did not get it threaded because I was going to be cutting it myself. And to do that, you can buy something like this. I can link it below, and it's like a threader that creates like grooves for like your screw to go into. So I have a screw like this that's 5/16, and right now I can't do anything with it until we actually create the grooves for it with this. So one thing to keep in mind before doing it is use something like oil. I have like some olive oil here, extra virgin baby, and you want to put it in here and on top of this. I think it just makes it easier and for the thing to not get caught, like the screw, while you're actually doing the drilling and doing like the threading. So let's try it. Let's see how it turns out. So now I did the threading on all 4 sides. The next step is to tighten up all the screws to make sure this is even more secure, because I left 1 or 2 rungs open just so that it could slide in easier, and now you want to tighten it to make sure it's all secure and tight. So the next step before we put it up onto the van is to actually wire them together. So we're going to make sure we wire them in series, which is going to add up the voltage, and that is a topic I can cover in another discussion, but that's pretty much what we're doing. And essentially these two are also going to get connected together via the other ones I have already on the roof. So this is going to connect with the other M4 connector, and this is going to connect with the other M4 connector on the roof. Now these are wired in series. I'm going to zip tie all the excess wire probably to this right here, and then we should be good to go. Wired together and looking pretty good. Time to install the cable entry gland onto the ceiling. We already made the hole. Something for next time is to not make one big hole, but make one tiny hole for each opening, because what I found out is grommets generally don't come in, like 1.5 inches wide. It's pretty big. I think having one grommet for each of the openings is probably better. So what I'm going to do is put butyl tape around the edges, and hopefully that'll be a good enough dividers between the wires so that they don't rub against the sides and tear the wire at all. So we're gonna go with that as the approach. Secondary, so that is a cable entry gland right there. So here's the cable entry gland right here. I have 3 wires feeding into it. The one of the red and the black is for the solar, and then the other black is for the antenna, for my extender, for service. So here's my cable entry gland. You see there's 3 wires coming out of it. One of them is for the antenna, for like an extender for cellular service, and then the other 2 are the red and black for the, what you need to install is butyl tape, glasses, cleaning it out beforehand, drill to drill it down, and some lap sealant to cover it up at the end. First step 1, make sure your area is all clean. So this butyl tape is going to serve as a barrier between the bare metal and the wires to prevent any of the wires from getting scratched up and possibly getting some metal exposed, the metal of the wire. First I'm going to feed in these 2 wires into the hole, and I know I have an opening out to this side, so I'm going to feed it in that way. Butyl tape all the way around the bottom. So just like that, there's butyl tape all the way underneath. Slide the wires in and make sure this is nice and tight. Screw the screws all the way around just to make sure we have a completely safe and secure fit. 3 holes, one over here, one over here, and one over here. Well, my drill bit broke, but at least we got one of the screws in. And we're back with the new drill bit. 3 screws in, 1, 2, 3. So notice here I was able to put
this entry gland like twisting thing that went in, and this makes sure the wire is extremely tight. But for this side, since I'm passing in 2 wires, I don't think this is necessarily meant for 2 wires, but I also want to make sure I have the antenna set up, and this is like a good way to pass it through with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to ensure this the same way with some butyl tape, and then I'll also add in some lap sealant to make sure it's you know, kind of like a silicone kind of thing to make sure there's no water that seeps through here. So on the right side, you'll see that we have the butyl tape covered all the way around. I also put it on top of the wires and slid both the wires all the way through so that on the thread as well there's butyl tape. On the left side, ensure that you tighten it up all the way with the wrench that's given. So to finish it off, we want to add this lap sealant. It's a self-leveling one, and it's from Dicor. It's a RV roofing experts. And they are experts. I mean, look at him. This guy does not look like an expert to you. He just screams it. And on this side, we see the fan, although it's getting kind of not that clean white as it used to be, but that is the same thing we used over there, and it's worked great. So we're using lap sealant again. Okay, the lap sealant is on, and it's all the way around. Hopefully this should be pretty good coverage. So this right here is essentially how we're gonna mount the panels to the roof rails. So the roof rails, this is what slides in there, and this is what's given to the horizontal, the one on the shorter side of the panels, how they attach from this side, and there's going to be another one on this side, and there's going to be basically 4 corners, so we have one of these on 4 corners. This is given in like a little package, and I can link it in the description below. How you put it together is basically pretty simple. You have the roof rails thing, it goes in here, then you attach this, boom boom, goes in like that. This goes in like that. So your 2 bolts and your nut. So now it's in, and you want to tighten that up, obviously. Then you have this, and then you just want to tighten it with the. Okay, it was a mission getting the solar panels up here, but I recommend having 3 people. So this is the solar panels kind of laid on top. I haven't put it into the roof rails yet, but this is kind of what it looks like underneath. As you know, I put in that hole to have the wires feed through inside the van, and then this is the solar panel wiring that's above the van. We have enough wiring and everything's there, so if I added another panel down the line, then I have enough wire to do so. I also have this wire that feeds in right here, which is for my Wi-Fi extender, and this is if I'm out in the wilderness and I need some better reception, that'll help me get that. Okay. So at this point, now I can just put this into the roof rails, like this, on all 4, and just like that, it'll fit, and I'll tighten them all up, tighten the screws, tighten these screws right here, and we should be good to go. Okay, cool.